Hot take. Ladies, stop looking for your Boaz. Even though it's taught this way across the North American church world, the book of Ruth is not a lesson on how to find your Boaz. It's actually not a love story at all, at least not in the way we usually think about love stories. The context of Ruth is societal chaos and total moral collapse. It's not relatable, I promise. But Ruth, it's not a love story. It's a story that takes place during a time when everyone did what was right in their own eyes, and it's a story about redemption when you just can't save yourself. Let's remember how we got to chapter 4. Naomi and her husband Elimelech left the promised land of Bethlehem during a famine. They moved to Moab, which was enemy territory, and their sons married Moabite women. And then Elimelech died, and then both the sons died. And Naomi was left husbandless, sonless, financially vulnerable in a culture where widows had almost no options. She returns to Bethlehem bitter and empty. She has land, technically, but she can't work it. She can't afford to hire workers. She has no sons to inherit it. She has only two choices. You can sell the land and have her family name and legacy disappear from the history books, or she can find what's called a redeemer, someone who can help carry the legacy and her family name on into the future. And here's what we miss all the time. It's not just land. It's inheritance. It's identity. It's promise. If the land goes, the name associated with the land goes. And if the name goes, the story of that family ends. The name of the family, by the way, is Elimelech, which means my God is king. For Naomi, this isn't just about financial hardship. It's about extinction. And if you were one of the original readers of this book, meaning you were an Israelite sitting in exile hundreds of years after the fact, this would have hit hard because they also had left their land, lost their inheritance, lost their king, lost their identity. They are sitting in Babylon thinking, we've lost everything and we are facing extinction. Someone needs to redeem us. Now let me ask you something. Does it ever feel like the world is collapsing around you? Violence, division, corruption, chaos? I mean, we keep trying to fix things ourselves. Self-help, better habits, more discipline, maybe just new leaders, new wars, new systems, new attacks. And sure, sometimes we improve along the way. But have we ever managed to fix our deeper problem? I mean, the 1900s were supposed to be the golden age of humanity. The war to end all wars happened. We had a lot of scientific progress, human enlightenment. But instead, we're still launching more wars. People are suffering more from depression than anything else. Genocide's happening, global conflict. I mean, human beings are remarkably creative at running amok. And there's no resolution strong enough to redeem the world. Or our souls, it seems. That's where Ruth 4 comes in. Meanwhile, Boaz went up to the town gate and sat down there just as the guardian redeemer he had mentioned came along. Boaz said, "Come over here, my friend, and sit down." So he went over and sat down. Boaz took 10 of the elders of the town and said, "Sit here," and they did so. Then he said to the guardian redeemer, "Naomi, who has come back from Moab, is selling the piece of land that belonged to our relative Elimelech. I thought I should bring the matter to your attention and suggest that you buy it in the presence of these seated here and in the presence of the elders of my people. If you will redeem it, do so. But if you will not, tell me, so I will know, for no one has the right to do it except you, and I am next in line." "I will redeem it," he said. Then Boaz said, "On the day, though, that you buy the land from Naomi, you also acquire Ruth, the Moabite, the dead man's widow, in order to maintain the name of the dead with his property." At this, the guardian redeemer said, "Then I cannot redeem it because I might endanger my own estate. You redeem it. I cannot do it." Now, in earlier times in Israel, for the redemption and transfer of one property to become final, one party took off his sandal and gave it to the other. This was the method of legalizing transactions in Israel. So the guardian redeemer said to Boaz, "Buy it yourself," and he removed his sandal. Then Boaz announced to the elders and all the people, "Today you are witnesses that I have bought from Naomi all the property of Elimelech, Kilion, and Mahlon. I have also acquired Ruth the Moabite, Mahlon's widow, as my wife, in order to maintain the name of the dead with his property, so that his name will not disappear from among his family or from his hometown. Today you are witnesses." Then the elders and all the people at the gate said, "We are witnesses. May the Lord make the woman who is coming into your home like Rachel and Leah, who together built up the family of Israel. May you have standing in Ephrathah and be famous in Bethlehem." Through the offspring the Lord gives you, by this young woman, may your family be like that of Perez, whom Tamar bore to Judah. So maybe a little explanation. Boaz goes to the city gate, the legal center of town, and there's a closer relative who has the first right to redeem Naomi's land. And at first the guy says, yeah, because financially it's a good deal. Cheap land, future profit for you and your family, an expanded estate. But then Boaz says, you also acquire Ruth the Moabite. And suddenly the deal becomes different. Because if Ruth has a son, the land doesn't increase this guy's inheritance. It will belong to Ruth's child, which means there's really no profit. And there's a lot more risk. There's more responsibility. So suddenly he backs out. I mean, what looked profitable was no longer advantageous. So he removes his sandal and steps aside. And Boaz steps forward and he buys it all. The land, the responsibility, the risk, the widow, the outsider. He redeems the girl and the ground. Not because it benefits him, but because it's right. So Boaz took Ruth, and she became his wife. And when he made love to her, the Lord enabled her to conceive, and she gave birth to a son. The women said to Naomi, "Praise be to the Lord, who this day has not left you without a guardian redeemer. May he become famous throughout Israel. He will renew your life and sustain you in your old age. For your daughter-in-law, who loves you and who is better to you than 7 sons, has given him birth." Then Naomi took the child in her arms and cared for him. The women living there said, "Naomi has a son," and they named him Obed, the father of Jesse, the father of David. This is then the family line of Perez. Perez was the father of Hezron, Hezron the father of Ram, and Ram the father of Amminadab. Amminadab was the father of Nahshon, and Nahshon the father of Salmon, and Salmon the father of Boaz, Boaz the father of Obed, Obed the father of Jesse, and Jesse the father of David. So Ruth conceives, and a son is born. Then they name him Obed, who's the father of Jesse, the father of David. And suddenly you realize this isn't just a story about Naomi surviving. This is about God preserving the line of the king. In exile, the Israelites would have looked up from the story and thought, that's what we need right now. A righteous redeemer, a king who sets things right, a child who would restore what was lost. The story ends with this genealogy because hope isn't abstract, it's embodied. And as Christians, we read this story and see something more too. Boaz risks his inheritance to redeem a vulnerable immigrant. Jesus left heaven to redeem humanity at his own risk. Boaz absorbs the cost for somebody else's future. Jesus absorbs the cost for yours and for mine. Naomi couldn't save herself. Israel couldn't save itself. And you and I can't save ourselves. We can improve habits, but we can't redeem our exile from God. And here's the good news. God resolved to save you. Not when you figured it out, not when you cleaned yourself up first, not when you kept your promises to make things better, but instead he saw your poverty, your sin. He saw us as humanity running amok, and he stepped forward. Not because it was profitable, because that's what love required. So what do you do with that? You see, the story of Ruth says, hey, you are not alone in your exile. There's one who buys back what was lost. There's one who restores your identity. There's one who can bring you home. This isn't a book about finding the right Boaz for your next romantic relationship. No, it's about wondering, hey, listen, if you've ever felt like your life is beyond fixing, this book says redemption is possible no matter what. And listen, if this has helped you understand the Bible in a fresh way, hit the subscribe button. And if you're trying to follow Jesus and maybe outside the normal walls of a traditional religious establishment, welcome to RedeemerOnline.church. We're here to help. Let me know what you think of all this in the comments. For now, that's it for this one. We'll see you next time.